Views expressed in the videos are my observation, analysis of events, persons based on principles of astrology. It's not my intent to predict, forecast absolute outcomes, only suggest how they may unfold. Nothing is set in stone. I could be wrong, but often I'm right. My desire is not to promote fear, only inform about what we see unfolding. It is our wish to prepare our subscribers for events that could affect them, their family, their goals, and their future, to help to prepare for what you may already feel suspect is happening, and to send a warning shot across the bow and raise a flag of concern. Our goal is to help, not hinder, in these perilous times, to inspire and offer possible direction, and to reveal that a greater plan and purpose are behind all that is happening. Eventually, we will see a brighter day. If you would like to show your appreciation for our work on these videos or this channel, and also the Knowing Whispers channel, you can always click on the word thanks at the bottom of all the videos. Hello everybody, it's Robert Cosmar of the Astrology for Those Awakening YouTube channel, and also the YouTube channel Wisdom for Those Awakening Conscious Knowledge. Today I'm going to be giving you an overview of the landscape of where we have been from around 2016 to where we may be headed up until 2029. And while this particular image might seem to be very intimidating, I'm going to try to explain it to you and to point out some things that are kind of the gist of what it is I'm trying to get here. 2016, in my opinion, is when we began to see a lot of the upheaval, the chaos, the issues that we are currently facing right now. And you can see that here in the graphic ephemeris. All right, over here on the right-hand side, this is the chart of the United States of America. These are the planetary placements in the signs by degrees of the chart that was established or that actually was created from 1776. Here we have the transiting planets aspecting these natal planets. And as in all cases with astrology, transits affect what happens to the natal planets, how harmoniously things happen or how disruptive things happen. And you can see here that beginning in 2016, a lot of squares here. And you're talking about Uranus. You're talking about Eris, which represents strife and discord. And you can see that Eris is very close to Mercury. Business, communications, thinking. Okay? All the way through here. Eris takes around 600 years to go around the entire zodiac. Okay? So the energy of what it is that we're experiencing, the discord, the lack of harmony, was essentially astrologically forecast way back in 2016. Now it is somewhat in the future here going to start to separate, all right, but not before it probably signifies a lot of things that are going to happen and that are going to occur as a result of that. My feeling, in all honesty, for all of you that are watching this broadcast, and I try to say this with you not to scare you, but to alert you, based upon what I'm going to be talking about today, what you know to have happened, what we could see happening beginning now in 2025 on through 2029. My understanding and my awareness tells me that for there be the kind of social conscious change that is necessary for humanity to evolve beyond the strife, the discord, the chaos that we're experiencing, there will most likely have to be an event significantly like 9/11 that impacts mentally, emotionally, and in some cases physically all of us in the United States of America. Okay? Those of you who know me from watching my broadcasts know that I'm not one who likes to come across as a fearmonger, but I try to strike a balance between giving you information that you need to consider, being as honest as I can with not coming across like a know-it-all, and hopefully you will trust yourself enough to understand what you need to do to prepare yourself for the future, particularly those of you that are waking up, those of you that are hearing the message, hearing your inner voice, okay? Because you'll know that there's something going on, something happening, something that is speaking to you personally for a reason, and you need to listen to that, okay? Now, some of the other things to point out here. Eris, I've told you about, going clear across here. You see all these squares? Stationary directs of Eris, which always indicates the intensity of the indications of what the planet's involved. Eris, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, and even Saturn. Saturn, of course, represents challenges and difficulties. Okay? Karmic tests, lessons we need to learn. The other planetary energies, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, and Eris, are all evolutionary indicators. They are indicators of things that are happening to us that are beyond our control. We do not have the power to prevent or to avoid them. We must enter into them, and we must learn what the meaning is behind them. Okay? This puts us into a state of tremendous vulnerability. Okay, and if you've ever been through a life-shattering crisis in your life, I'm talking about a gut-wrenching, terrible, fearful sense of being out of control. This is what these particular aspects are trying to alert you to. Okay, these are the forecasters for cosmic awakening. All right, now, you'll see here, 2021, 2023, we had some hard aspects here from Neptune. Neptune dissolving the structure. This whole thing we've seen going on is a matter of the old structure represented by Saturn basically falling apart because Neptune enters in. Deception. Okay? Spirituality, consciousness, but also deception. Okay? Also, lies, things of that nature, okay, are represented by Neptune. So you can see here, particularly because of all these aspects, hard aspects always bring events. All right. Before this happened, okay, you can see up here, 2019 through 2021, Uranus, okay, aspecting the North Node. All right. Foretelling change, future change in the direction, okay, of where we have been to where we are going. Pluto, okay, the conjunction of transiting Pluto to the Pluto in the chart of the United States of America in the second house, all the way through here, okay, really starting in, let's say, the period of 2022. Okay, on through 2024. Okay, went retrograde several times. Change in our values. Mysterious change in our values. I'm sure that many of you wonder and have asked yourself the question, why or how have we gotten here? Okay? And because you were raised on beliefs and concepts and ideas that you thought would be forever, this has made you feel fearful, and it's also made you feel vulnerable, and you're wondering why. Why is this? It's because we as conscious human beings must evolve. Our beliefs and ideas must evolve. Our minds must evolve into our conscious feelings so that we can have a knowing sense personally of why things are happening to us as a nation in this case, and also in your personal life. If you have strong aspects going on, hard aspects, conjunctions, squares, and oppositions, between Eris, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn, then you are going through a crisis. Okay? A crisis of consciousness, which is an opportunity to awaken further, to take you from your belief structure, your Saturn belief structure that you were raised under, and to understand through the illumination that comes with Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, more of who you are consciously as a living human being. You are much more than the beliefs that you have swallowed your entire life. Okay, so you can see here, all right, here 2025, where we're in right now, this is Uranus squaring the moon. Uranus, change, freedom, revolution, all right, squaring the moon. In the chart of the USA, this has to do with the people. Okay, it's in the sign of Aquarius, which has to do with the conscious evolution of groups of people. Okay, but it's a very unnerving aspect because of the fact that it brings within situations of instability that make us feel more vulnerable, and we feel more at dis-ease about what's going on. Okay, so this entire landscape here of what I'm showing you is to give you some understanding as to why we have gone through this conscious change as a country, and it's affected the world. All right, you can see here in 2017, okay, Neptune began to square the ascendant. All right, the ascendant represents your outer image, your identity. Okay, with Neptune squaring that, you become confused. You're not certain who you are. You're filled with tremendous doubt, and you're filled with tremendous anxiety because you don't know where it's going. You've been so dependent on your beliefs and your ideas and your thoughts that you thought you knew it all, and now something happens that you can't anticipate, and you're kind of left holding the bag filled with doubt, self-doubt, anxiety, fear, okay? And along with that, of course, we also had aspect going on with Saturn, okay? Saturn and Neptune always bring uncertainty, always bring the disillusion or the dissolving, might be a better word, of the form, the known, because it's the unknown that's coming into play here. Okay? All right, now, the next chart here, 2025 going to 2029. And I showed this, I think, once before in another video that I did, but I wanted to use this because it's already done. All right? Let's take a look here at what's going on. We're in 2025 right now. What is happening right now that you're probably beginning to feel? You'll notice up here at the top of the chart, Neptune is opposing the midheaven in the USA chart. Saturn will also do that. They're both going into the fourth house. The fourth house really represents the people, their concept of the home. Okay? And with Neptune and Saturn going into that fourth house, the basic fundamental structure that the United States has been existing on for 250 years is falling apart. And we know that. We understand that. And it makes us feel tremendously uncomfortable. It also brings in this energy of fear. Okay? Because this structure that we have bought into, that we were programmed with, okay, is a part of the ego structure that has been built up. All right? The ego being that part of us that is conditioned and programmed into us through beliefs that have nothing to do with the evolutionary purpose of humanity and of consciousness itself. So again, this makes us feel very insecure, okay? It tests our hope. It tests our faith. It tests our fears, okay? And it's not ending, okay? You can see here what I pointed these things out. Beginning in 2027, this is 2027, Pluto is going to oppose the North Node in the USA chart. This is a change in the destiny of the country, okay? Now, You've probably heard me mention this, or I have maybe even put this in the community section. And this is through Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce had mentioned in one of his prophecies that these changes that are occurring would last for around 20 years. Now, if you go back to 2016 and you start there, we're almost into 9 years. If that's the case, we have 10 more years of this going on. Now, will it be as difficult as what it has been? I tend to think it could be worse in some ways. Okay? I don't think the shaking of the foundation has completely accomplished what it has accomplished. And as I mentioned previous, when I was talking to you about the other slide here, it's very possible we could see something occur of the nature and extent of 9/11. Maybe not exactly like it, but something of the magnitude that it really hits home, causing us to question the direction that we are going and being led into. That'll be the telltale. Okay? Again, Pluto, transformation, death, and rebirth. Okay? If you really wanted to get into extremes, okay, this Pluto opposing the North Node here could be the death of a large body of individuals. Okay? That's only a possibility. I'm not saying exactly that's what's going to happen, but based on the astrology, and things and the way they're headed and stuff, we'll know by then. Also, at this particular time, we have some other factors going on here. Okay? Uranus is conjuncting in the USA chart, natal Uranus. So this amplifies, okay, two things: freedom and independence, or disruption. Okay, revolution. All right. You always want to keep in mind that with Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, and Eris, you can say there is a light positive side or a dark side to it. Okay. It depends upon how we react to it. Are we awakened by it? Are we consciously making changes? Or are we stubbornly being unconscious and choosing not to do anything, hoping that others will make the changes for us? This time is a time of crisis in which you must embrace the changes that you are being given, instructed to make. If you're hoping to be rescued and saved by somebody who says they can do that, you're going to fall into the circumstances of being extremely, fearfully disappointed. Okay? Because, again, in this situation with Uranus, Uranus is a planet that represents individuality. It is attempting to try to help us to become individuals of a higher conscious nature. Okay? Whereas we kind of want to stay, okay, the Saturn type individual. We want to stay, going into the past. We want to let the Leave It to Beaver days come back. They ain't coming back. All right. All right. Now, you can also see here during this timeline here, beginning in 2026, we have squares to key points in the USA chart from Saturn. Saturn always brings in challenges to the norm. It's almost like the karmic payback period, where it's time to pay up, okay, is what Saturn is really saying here. And this can affect us on many levels, okay, many levels economically, the whole 9 yards, okay. So I am talking about, in all honesty here, future disruption, okay, more so than what you're experiencing right now. Right? And if you watched my other videos from my other channel, Wisdom for Those Awakening Conscious Knowledge, I am trying to feed you, those of you that are aware and awakening, I am trying to show you how to prepare yourself within for whatever happens without. Because there is a tremendous awakening going on with these planetary placements in the country and in the world. And they are designed to wake us up. All crisis happens for one reason and one reason only: to make you aware and awake, to see the truth and not to live in illusions. Okay? So, Neptune here, you can see beginning in 2026, it's starting to square Venus, okay? Finances, relationships, pleasure, okay? Could be a further assault upon people who have different sexual backgrounds, orientations, and things of this nature. It could be that the finances in our country, go kaput in one way, shape, or form. Okay, we're talking here about a total situation where it would be normal and understandable to feel helpless at what you see going on. But in that moment of darkness, okay, you are closer to the light within you than you have ever been in your life. That is a fact. Okay? When you feel the most vulnerable, when you feel the most fear, when you feel bone-crunching fear, and you feel out of control, that is the moment when you are more than likely to be awakened. Okay? That the clouds of doubt give way to the sun that is behind them. That is the gift. That is the promise. Those moments when we feel vulnerable, we're afraid, and we feel lost, and we are confused. Okay, so you can see here that through basically now until 2030, that we are going to have continuous disruptions in the country. Okay, right now we're in a situation where it seems like Donald Trump is being given more and more control, which is what he wants, right? And I'm not saying this to you to try to make you feel like you should hate Donald Trump more. That's not what this is all about. I've been saying all along in my videos that Donald Trump is a tool of the universe. And the reality of his consciousness is he cannot help to be who he is. He is that way because he was born to be that way. He is a tool to foretell and to bring about massive conscious change. In that aspect, he is fulfilling his destiny. All right? It's very unlikely he's going to have a come to Jesus moment. Okay? And be in a surrendering state. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but it's not likely. All right? And again, it depends upon the stubbornness. It depends upon the inner workings of the individual, how damaged they are, okay? How fated they are, in a way, to have that particular life. And again, as I've said this many, many times, okay, because there's so much emotion around this, all right, that because of the emotion, and you can relate to this in your personal life, because of emotions, there's times when you snap to judgment, and then you realize afterwards you regret that. All right. What Donald Trump is doing is bringing about needed change consciously in the country and in the world in some respects. Okay? And because of the disruption, because of the fear, there's a part of all of us that wants to hate the man. That is the wrong way to respond to this situation. That is where you get sucked into the dark side. That is where fear will take you to lower places in your sight than you've ever thought possible. You don't want to go there. Okay? What you need to do is you need to recognize that the fear is not in what you hear and see, but in who you are. You have absorbed within you, from the time you were very young, fears about yourself, about your life. And you have tried to deal with those fears. Maybe it was through psychological counseling, or it was a come to Jesus moment, and you ended up becoming a religious person. But you're going to find out that those things alone cannot bring the changes you're looking for and that you need. Those changes only come when you decide to go within, to consciously examine yourself and to discover what is in there. And it's not fear. Okay? That's kind of where we're headed. That's kind of where we are. Like I said, I wanted to point out, to give you an overview here of where we have been and where we are headed, so that you can understand when you're comparing these aspects between 2016 on to 2025. You can see here the chaos in these tight lines and all these conjunctions and squares from these hard planets. Okay? And you know, because of what we've been through, what you can expect. All right, now, when we go back here to now, 2025 to 2030, you're seeing the same hard aspects, but you'll also notice here that with Eris, they're not all bunched together. So that tells me that during this period of time, that the severity may not be as intense, or there may be other factors that enter into it that minimize the hurtfulness of what we're talking about here. Again, I fully expect and believe that during this period of time that more people are going to wake up, and they're going to see and understand what's happening. And they're going to realize that they have personal responsibility for where they're headed. And they can't blame Donald Trump, and they can't blame everybody else. They can't blame those that disagree with them. They have to own it. Okay? That's the only way. You have to own it. It's your fear. It's your vulnerability. It's your doubts. All right? And there is a way through all that. But it won't be political. There are so many people I see that are hoping that some kind of a political change is going to happen, which it could occur, and that that's going to solve problems we're dealing with. It will not. Okay? It will not. All right? Both systems have their own dark side, their own flaws. Okay? And the biggest flaw that's there is that we easily give our power over to the systems, hoping that the systems have the answer for all the ills of humanity. They don't. They never will. Okay? And that's why this is such a critical time for humanity, and that we take it seriously, the need to wake up. Because if we don't, then we run the risk, okay, of the effect of the karma that's involved in this situation. Okay? And it could be very, very, very painful and devastating. Okay, I think I said what I needed to say. I could feel it within inside of myself, and I hope that you feel the conviction when you listen to this. Okay? And again, for those of you that are not aware of this, the other channel that I have, Wisdom for Those Awakening Conscious Knowledge, I have teachings. I have all the classes that I did on Sunday mornings over there, and I'm going to be doing more. And these are designed to try to help you to be more conscious of what is going on inside of you, how to understand the process of awakening, of becoming integrated into your higher consciousness. Okay? So there is some support other than what I'm sharing with you here. All right? It is very challenging and at times difficult to do these videos because I know how hard they are for people to swallow. But they must be told. They must be done. Okay? All right. Again, as I mentioned here a little bit ago, I still am going to be doing classes and posting them on the other channel. Okay? For those of you who have not come over to Substack, all right, I have the Wisdom for Those Awakening Conscious Knowledge Substack publication over there, where I have put everything my guidance has given me over the last several years on that platform, where you can read and gain insight as to what is going on inside of you and why. Okay? It's there to help you. Okay? All right. Again, I think that's all I wanted to say. I will keep you informed if anything else happens. I will try to do these videos when I see situations developing with people or in the country, to give you a grasp of what is going on. But as I've said many times before, don't put all your bets on astrology. And you may think that's odd for an astrologer to say that. Okay? But you can't rely totally on astrology to get you through difficult times. The astrology can help you mentally to understand the timeline of something you're going through that you're suffering through. But unless you're willing to address what it is showing you, you're still going to hurt and you're going to suffer because it's trying to wake you up. It's trying to help you see how you're shooting yourself in the foot. Okay, enough said. Thank you for watching. If you feel convicted about this video, share it on the internet. Please comment. I would love to hear your comments. All right. From the love of my life, CJ, my spiritual partner, my best friend, oftentimes my best teacher, we want to thank you for your support, and we trust that you are being helped by the work that we're doing. Okay? Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you in the community section.